Hello viewers, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. I'm your host, Chu, and well, today we're checking out yet another multiplayer commentary, namely we're playing a 4v4 on, I believe, Bloody Ridge is the map name. So, anyhow, it'll be another destruction match, and this time we're checking out a land-based Eurocore deck. So, I mean, inside the past, we've already seen the Eurocorps have really strong infantry, especially in the form of the Fallschirmjäger German troops. And, well, getting a bit away from that, seeing as how the game has been rebalanced in the sense that the elite infantry, such as the Fallschirmjäger guys, aren't, say, as powerful as they used to be. I have a deck here that is effectively built around using a mixture of French artillery amongst various other things, and in general German and French frontline units do some great reconnaissance and great infantry pushing potential inside these close quarters situations, with a fair amount of support in the form of some ultra heavy or rather ultra expensive tanks inside the back. So, the game's begun. Let's slow this down and let's check out the units that I have bought here. Starting off, I have a single Kaiser or Caesar gun, depending on how you'd like to pronounce it. And usually, as you guys may know, I don't like to buy heavy artillery, but I wanted to try something else here, and with that said, I'm trying out these French cannons here. So, in theory, they only carry 18 rounds. They do high damage, low fire rate, but extremely accurate with its low dispersion and high rate or high range of fire. So, I have two in the deck. Seeing as how they cost a whopping 120 points each, I buy only one for now. And my thoughts are with the artillery guns here is that since I only have two of them, since these are highly accurate, what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to try to pick off targets from a range, and I'm going to queue up both of the guns to my grouping hotkeys, so that's, you know, control 1 and 2, so then I have the guns on individual keys. And my ideas behind it is that I'm going to locate the enemy, I'm going to spot them, I'm going to shoot them, and I'm going to keep my guns busy at all times, either moving or shooting. And that is a central theme towards this battle. Moving forwards into the field, I have three helicopters. I have two Gazelles, one anti-air with the Mistral system, one anti-ground with the Hot 2 system. I have a small recon heli just by need, and well, inside this deck, the primary pushing force, or the primary occupying force, is German Panzergrenadier infantry. So, I mean, like I said, the Fallschirmjäger elite paratrooper infantrymen, as we know and love, have been unfortunately, or rather fortunately, nerfed to an extent inside the game. And well, with that said, the Panzergrenadiers have become a more suitable replacement for them, namely due to the fact that they function effectively as just a cheaper and more numerous variant of those guys. And over here, as you can see, or rather, one of the things that work really well on these maps is that people seem to really enjoy using these roads here. And with that said, if you have any sort of helicopter with missile pods, it's a great way to score some easy kills or stuns or in general morale panicking moves there. So anyhow, me and my teammate here, Devious Taco, moves towards this objective zone. First and foremost, he drops a whole bunch of napalm on these BTRs, obviously dropping off their infantry, so a great move there. And in the meantime, I pre-fire a few Kaiser rounds inside there, and it manages to score, from the looks of it, a few either APC kills or some cheap infantry kills, either way. The shots keep dropping off there, and I move up my Panzer Grenadiers to go up and hopefully help these guys cap off this village. Now, on the flanks here, what I've deployed is a single unit of Fahrenspar infantry, and these are recon snipers. And the reason I want to put them here is at the very end of this battle, or just in general over the course of this battle, what will happen is that people like to probe this mountain region over here. And with that said, with my heavy artillery guns, provided that I can spot, say, some of their things just bobbling around on this mountain, I can easily finish them off, seeing as how people don't generally focus on looking at this region. So I see two units, I have my guns prepped, and I believe they are already aiming for that target, where they will be soon. So yeah, that is just sort of one thing that's going on over there, and I'll show you guys the Panzergrenadier 90s. These are shock infantry. They have like I said, I mean they're fairly standard. They're effectively a cheaper variant of the Fallschirmjägers for our intents and purposes. They feature again a great the MG3 platform, so a really great long-range machine gun, and also a high accuracy, high penetration, and long-range anti-vehicle weapon. So they're definitely very strong in that regards. And with that said, I generally just use them to really front up the fight towards enemy groups. Namely, as you can see here, I'm trying to avoid napalm. My ally here, using his Fallschirmjägers, are bringing the fight to some enemy infantry. Taking a look at the Fallschirmjägers now, I believe they've changed slightly. The default variant of them, 25 variant of them, now have the PZF 44 rocket launcher. The Fallschirmjäger 90 variant is still pretty good nonetheless, but at the cost of 35 points, all it really gets in addition compared to the Panzergrenadier 90s is its H&K G11 thing over there, and a bit of a faster movement speed, and of course the elite status rather than the shock status. Overall, I thought that, yeah, it wasn't really too worth it. Now over here, this was a bit of a disappointing plane, the Super Antiair SCM. In theory, it's a relatively fast-flying plane, it's a prototype plane as well, that shoots one highly accurate heat missile at one high-value target, and gets away like that. But unfortunately, these planes, despite that high accuracy value, I've never had them hit anything during the entirety of the match. They always missed the tanks that they were supposed to hit, namely the T-80s that my opponents were bringing. So yeah, that was a bit of a disappointment there, and in the meantime, I'm just really moving up my forces, getting the Panzergrenadiers to really grind down the enemy infantry inside the village. So overall, things are going well there, and I think at some point during the game, I pop my head and I say, okay, these Igla troops are definitely going to get somewhere around the edge of this force cluster, and of course these things are also present. I think with the little setup here of anti-air and recon, I think, yeah, I move up a Jaguar, and these are a APC. They're fairly expensive at 55 points, but I mean, they're decently armored, they're decently fast off-road, and they feature the tow platform, so I move one up to hopefully shoot at it along with an artillery shot, so hopefully I can pick off both of the targets at once, but unfortunately, they figure that out and back off. Right. So, I mean, moving from this point, I believe the T-80 got away, the enemy's moving up tanks along the sides here, and, well, we have control of this village. That might change very soon. So, first and foremost, I am, excuse me folks, worried about the possibility of a airdrop, some sort of napalm drop. So what I do is that I move up these Mistrals forwards, and these are high accuracy, decent damage anti-air troops. They're more so good against helicopters than say airplanes, mind you, but at this point, I mean, hey, anything goes, and I really move them forwards like such. And my opponents here seem to drop smoke on our lines. Oddly enough, I really don't get this. They're starting to form up what seems to be cheapo Chinese and Russian tanks, and I see some infantry, but not a lot of it. I mean, inside this situation, if you're deploying smoke and all that, I'd honestly drop in some pioneer-esque sapper troops, something with flamethrowers, perhaps not flamethrower tanks, perhaps something just on the infantry front like that. But anyhow, with these village sectors, definitely get something to burn troops out is one thing. But I like the use of smoke. That's another thing there. Right. So in the meantime, what I do here is me and my ally here, Devious Taco, we move up a few of our ATGM platforms just to the edge of, just to the edge of this right flank, far enough so that they can fire on the main road here, but still have some cover coming from these little forested areas. And I shell this location for a little bit. I want to probe out that Igla troop. In the meantime, You guys are really going to love this. I move up a VAB, and the reason being is that this deck features some of these ATGM Milan troops. This is a fairly cheap ATGM unit for what it's worth. It has high pen, decent accuracy, but in my opinion, the range of it is a little bit low. But at the very end of the day, these two Milan troops actually do save the day here in just a few short minutes. And man, I want to tell you guys what happens, but I think it'd be better if you saw it. Right, so the enemy brings up a Brentino, and these things are... Damn it, it disappeared from... it technically isn't observed right now. But these things are really short range. I think they have a range of somewhere around 3.5 kilometers in-game, because the in-game scale is really, really weird. And the thing is that it's a huge rocket... it's a huge rocket launching vehicle that fires napalm rockets. So it's great for clearing these areas. And there we go. It's in sight, so I'll show you guys that. Right, carries 30 220 millimeter rounds. They have the napalm little tag on it there. They fire right around 350 or 3.5 km, and in general they do a great job in suppressing and stunning and general clearing areas of enemies. So this guy is readying this thing to fire, but by some miracle, my guys over here have a line of sight to the vehicle, so he is in range. He's inside that 2.4 km envelope. He has a little bit of trees blocking the line of sight here, but it's just not enough, and that's 140 points gone for a very, very cheap ATGM unit. Notably, going from there, I'm trying to get my infantrymen to get out of the line of fire, and that rocket barrage barely hits anything. Well, I guess it hits Devious Taco's Falchion Makers here by a bit, but apart from that, very little damage was done by that hefty unit there. So overall, very lucky play there, and I think that definitely set back their offensive abilities inside that area. I mean, with this Milan setup, you really got to say, yes, you can pick off things down inside this road here, but if the enemy deploys anything inside these forests, that Milan team is definitely very, very easy pickings for the enemy. But I was very, very glad that it worked out in my favor. So I move up my defensive line. I want to probe his forced lines over here, and I also move up my scout on the side. So they seem to want to attack down the road and into the settlement once again, and I'm fine with that. I've got my Jaguars with those tow missiles covering the central road, so they'll be firing and doing their thing there. And in the meantime, I'm moving up my Panzergrenadiers, and again, they have a pretty long-reaching rocket launcher, as we're RPG anti-tank weapon for lack of a better term, as well, and in addition to that, a fairly capable machine gun as well. So they're also contributing to the amount of forces we can kill off on this road. So, that is effectively this situation for now. I think in the back ranks over here, I've managed to buy another Caesar gun, or Kaiser gun, and I effectively begin, again, queuing these up to 1 and 2, and the central theme to this match in general will be the fact that I am just shelling the living crap out of enemy high-value units wherever I can find them. Right, so one shot already landed. I think this one required a second shot to be fired. And in general, I'm looking at these battles whilst selecting my artillery pieces, if that makes any sense. So with that said, what I'm doing is that I'm keeping track of, if I select my units, it should show it. I'm keeping track of that bottom progress meter, the one that tells me about the reload times of my weapons, so that I can fire off 1 or 2 shots, and chances are is that with these ultra heavy artillery pieces, that's all you need. And I'm just constantly either moving them around, redeploying them so that the enemy doesn't know where they are, or shooting with them to take out enemy targets here and there. So, in the meantime, looks like our enemies sent off some regular infantrymen into the fight over here, and some shock infantry as well. They just brawl it out with the Panzergrenadiers, using that elite status and that awesome MG with the CQC tag, so they'll be able to fight very well inside these close quarters engagements as well, to just really work some picks here and there. Now, in the meantime, I'm of course looking all over the map, checking out for artillery targets, and really seeing what I can do with those Caesar guns, because bear in mind that they can range practically from every area inside the map. And over here, my Panzergrenadiers, again, really good MG. They managed to pick off a helicopter, oddly enough. A very expensive helicopter at that as well. So, yeah, that is one flank of the battle right here. And, well, I tried to move up my Panzergrenadiers. They have those amazing rocket launchers. I wanted to take out that T-80U. With the high penetration values of the PZF-3 here, it should only take right around 2 hits, so 1 volley, provided that we hit it from the flank here. And actually, the T-80U there doesn't really have too much frontal armor compared to, say, some of the heavier Western pieces, but it's probably will still block the vast majority of the damage from these rocket launchers, provided that we hit it from the front. But anyhow, I think the Panzergrenadiers here, being worth only 20 points, having those amazing capacities, I think they've already paid for themselves at this point. And also at this point in the battle, I'm noticing that my opponents really want to, they seem to really want to probe this area over here. They really want to get rid of my Panzergrenadiers. And with that said, I use that to my advantage. Namely, I just effectively bleed them for points on this flank here, provided that they want to keep on moving forwards here. Right, so that's pretty much that. I also bring up a few more just pieces in general. I noticed that I lost my Jaguars over here, so I bring up my AMX Scout tank, and this is just an ad hoc little tank to provide some form of reconnaissance. And yeah, moving forwards to try to clear that area. I'm not really sure what happened here, but I think we do lose the Mistral team. Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. And going from there, shell out, yeah, a few of these vehicles as best as I can. They'll be panicked, so they probably won't be able to hit my infantry, but nonetheless, I don't think we'll be able to kill them. Now, in the air battle, I'll show you guys some of the planes that I have inside this deck as well. And well, I'm using this plane primarily as my air-to-air fighter. And again, a central theme of these decks that I've been playing with recently is the fact that a ton of the units are very expensive. So the Raphael CF1 here, it's coming in at 180 points. Very high strength, very high ECM, air detection, speed, and in general a very accurate radar-guided missile system. So this thing goes up against a MiG-31, and I'm not really sure if we do win this duel. I think we do, but its ally comes around, right, and we're just spouting missiles over here, taking down a 140 point plane. What I did here was that I decided to turn my plane and effectively bail out. And what you can do is that before you evac your planes, definitely click around the map, check where they're going, click in a direction that you want them to turn to hopefully get around enemy SAM sites, amongst other things. And over here, it looks like the enemy had a small Igla team that exposed themselves, so I noticed that. I get my guys back in the RD platforms to hopefully spot where, rather, I think I get the Fallschirmjäger or Fahrenspeer team to move to the top of the mountain, spot that guy again, get the artillery to blow it out, and really just goes off of that note. And over here, I think we get, yeah, 2 more of these cheapo APCs. Now, mind you, now our Panzergrenadier team is now of elite veterancy. And the other thing being that they've practically paid for themselves, I'd say over 3 times, threefold over there. So definitely very useful units, especially inside these situations where your opponents really want to hold one particular group of the map. And if you can force your opponent to defend like that or attack like that, while you defend, it's a great way to game up some points and to really just go from there. Right, so like I said, I'm move up my Fahrenspeer team here, and it disabled most of their weapons, excluding their actual sniper. And over here, I'm saying, even if I do use the sniper rifle, it's going to expose them, so I just fire off the little team there with some RD, and I move forwards. I also see 2 more vehicles over here, so I decide to shell them. And I think these vehicles disappear from existence momentarily. Right, so that is, that's sort of that. and in the meantime, inside my main lines, as you saw there, I did lose the two Jaguars at the front of at the start of the match, and the following by the one reconnaissance unit. So what I decided to do here was that I bought some more Panzergrenadiers, again exploiting the fact that my opponent really wanted to keep that little forest bush there, and to support them I buy a, I'm not really sure how to pronounce this, but Le Cric, and this is a very expensive French tank. The main thing about it is that with its cannon range of practically 2.3 kilometers, and its high accuracy and high stabilizer, what I see this vehicle being exceptionally good at is simply taking out anti-armor guided missiles here on the map, due to the fact that it has a very high off-road movement speed. So with that said, this is effectively a really long-reaching gun, and bear in mind that it also has a decent AP power rating as well. Though I need to protect it, so I buy a rod-led system to do just as such. And over here, what happened was the sniper team gets up to the very top of the hill, finds the enemy's command unit, and I try to pick it off. Although they seem to, they seem to have noticed their scout team, so they bring in a helicopter to hopefully get rid of that. Right, so the artillery comes in, and I believe we missed the first few shots here. He tries to relocate. I think we catch the very edge of the vehicle. It doesn't kill it. Yeah, it stuns it though, and takes out quite a bit of its life. And this might be the finish. Yeah, that was the finishing shot. So that was another 120 points there at the cost of what is effectively artillery rounds and a single scouting unit. So not bad. And that effectively uncaps the point here. Moving forwards, what I do is that I notice that this mountaintop area is a very lucrative opportunity, so I buy some more scouting teams just because, and I'm just going to try to probe these forests again with our Panzergrenadiers. Namely, the Panzergrenadiers advancing here come under fire from a wide variety of things, but it's mostly the infantry down there. So, as you guys may have noticed, the tank that we had back there was able to provide gun support, rather, or just fire on those infantry units, so it was very instrumental in that. But unfortunately, the enemy helicopter there managed to do some damage and work some picks there. So anyhow, I bring in some more anti-air because I really did want to cover that tank well. And my ally here, Devious Taco, he brings up a ATGM Milan squad to the area where I had originally had one. It seemed to be a popular spot for covering. And, well, he pretty much just draws it off with the enemy counterattacks here. Now, in the meantime, I bring up my sniper team. I see the Spetsnaz one as well, and accordingly, we shell the living crap out of it. Oddly enough, what happens is that, we take out that particular Spetsnaz team, but another one shows itself on the very top of the cliff here, and I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but they made a trade-off with each other, meaning that our sniper team killed theirs and theirs killed ours somehow, but that was the end of that story. And really, that just moves the battle forwards, and we switch gears and we try to probe this area again. So, in the meantime, I'm of course scanning the map again, trying to take full use of the artillery, and I believe at this point, I'm not terribly sure, but as you can see, my guns have been just pretty much clacking off in the meantime, and I think we targeted the Panzergrenadiers system over here. And just a bit of a refresher, these Panzergrenadier missile systems, they're pretty deadly North Korean pieces. They cost 50 points, they're fairly accurate, and they do a whole heck of damage on helicopters, and I really just wanted to snipe that off for a quick amount of points. So here we go, and I think this round takes the thing out. And in general, with my artillery, I'm just looking for these targets of opportunity, things that I can snipe off with this artillery, and in general keep our opponents back, and I'm just trying to keep our opponents here. It's attention divided between the different units, and I think that's working well. That's working pretty well so far. And moving forwards from there, One of the recurring things inside this match is that for whatever reason, my opponent had some really heavy armor units there. We just weren't able to pick that out. Unfortunately, over here, my opponent uses a Schmel launcher or something like that, or a Smersh launcher or something like that. It's a cluster rocket artillery, and it picks off my Rodland, which Rodland. So that is unfortunate, but luckily it didn't hit our main battle tank here at all. So that was good, and again, they seem to really want to make a push near this forested area, so they do. And my Panzergrenadiers dispatch one team accordingly, and the second one shortly after that. And they bring in a T-72. This one's actually also quite valuable at 180 points, or 70 points. What happened was that I originally targeted those infantrymen with my artillery, and luckily, a few shots went over to the tank in the meantime, and well, I managed to panic it. We would have killed it, unfortunately. The bombers did take out my my squad there. So right, the battle continues off there. We're getting some intel and we're starting to make some pushes onto Gulf in the middle portion of the map. So again, I'm looking for targets, looking for things with my artillery pieces, namely things such as, even things such as just supply helicopters or general transports and things scattered around the map. Anything that I can pick off is what I'll shoot at. Especially with these cargo trucks, bear in mind that while they're only worth 15 points, technically, or rather most people only seem to buy one single card of them, so they only have 8 of them in availability. And with that said, if they need a constant source of supply, it's very, very easy to effectively disable their capacities in that regards. So right, I'm trying to pick off, I think, a few of those units in the meantime, and we spot this group of stuff back here, namely we figure out where the Smerches are, where a single artillery gun is. So I believe somewhere down the line we change targets and we try to hit those. Now, in the meantime, I buy some Harpoon tanks. I think we've already seen these multiple times. They're cheap. I believe technically they're supposed to be like French airborne tanks, and the point is that they have a really low firing gun, or low range gun, but they also have ATGM systems on top of them. So overall, they're kind of a useful unit, kind of a not. I use them as a line filler, really. And I believe, we get one more plane kill somewhere down the line here. Right, so I send in the Raphael again, and it managed to take down one SU something, picks it off. I try to go for the second one. I realize that that's going too far into the enemy lines, and unfortunately it gets picked off by yet another North Korean artillery piece, the Pongay 2. This one is a bit different from the Pongay 1, namely the fact that it carries 2 missiles, it has a decent range, it has, I'd say, a below average accuracy, but the thing is that it has an HE power of 10, meaning that if it hits your plane once, your plane is gone. And with that said, it is fairly deadly if you are able to have them in very nice positions, and unfortunately it manages to hit that lucky shot and picks off my Raphael plane. So, really going forwards from there, yeah, we have a whole bunch of targets present on the map that we can shoot at, and I think the first order of business is really just picking off that artillery piece over here. I think we also get the Schmells over here, and taking a look at the map's wreckages. It doesn't look like... I don't really know if the wreckages show up if you can't actually spot them, so maybe not over there. And in the meantime, I noticed some very juicy tank targets around this area as well. And of course focus on that Pongay 2 to hopefully take out that piece, and I believe we do. Yeah, there we go. So a nice 80 points right there. Right, so moving forwards, launching yet another attack inside this area of the map, seeing as how it seems to be really, really profitable. And I also bring up my main battle tank here so that it can hopefully work some picks on the main road here. And in general, it's a good vehicle to keep out anti-tank or ATGM systems there. Right, and the match continues. We're moving forwards here, and effectively that is pretty much game. So our guys are sweeping up here. The main battle tank gets unfortunately jammed up at one point, but luckily that was able to be resolved here. So I move it up forwards gradually. And at one point here, as soon as the infantry move up far enough, I think we find one of the T-80Us and pick it off, and that is effectively game. Right, so that is effectively the match. We're coming in at this point at 800 or 8,500 points out of 12,000 to win, and there's right around 3 minutes on the clock, and we have right around 250 point lead on the enemy. Now, I think I'll end the video here. I'm gonna go and get a glass of water or something, and well, I hope you guys I hope you guys like the video and subscribe, and we'll be back for yet another multiplayer commentary video sometime later on. So I hope to see you guys there. Bye bye for now.